Here's my coronavirus log for week 45. Details and timestamps are below in the description, and here's a general outline. Saturday, January 16th. Pretty domestic day today. Just did a bunch of stuff around the house. I'm actually getting ready to hunker down and watch WandaVision, new Marvel show on Disney+. Also, I booked a trip to Ireland. So we'll see. I'll do it eventually, but I've got tickets to see Fontaines DC July 3rd and 4th in Dublin. TBD whether that show actually happens with COVID and stuff like that. It may get pushed back. But Aer Lingus, you can change the flight with no change fees. So I'm like, eventually I'm going to go there. So I was able to put 50% down. The price was good. So booked it. Eventually, I will end up back in Dublin. If it's not July 3rd and 4th, then it will be another time. So kind of excited about that. Also in news, Yankee news, the Yankees signed Corey Kluber, pitcher, who's been hurt and hasn't really pitched in 2 years. But they signed him for $11 million, a one-year contract, which seems a lot for kind of a test run. The guy was a Cy Young winner, but we'll see. But still, big news. Well, in my opinion, they still need to get another pitcher, but they're not going to want to go over the salary cap. So we'll see what they do. It probably means Tanaka's not going to come back, which is sad. Brett Gardner, maybe not. They've probably only got about $5 million left to play with, which it's unbelievable. You think of that as not much. Fuck, that's a lot of money. Sunday, January 17th. Totally lazy day today. I'm still in my freaking PJs. Didn't get a run in today. Didn't walk the dog because it was kind of nasty out. Just a lazy day. That's a dog eating her dinner in the background. But luckily got tomorrow off. So Monday, January 18th, Martin Luther King Day. Or at least celebrated today. So I had the day off. Just making some dinner and kind of relaxing. Started reading a book called Between the World and Me by Ta-Nehisi Coates, who's a Baltimore author that a buddy of mine, Pete, recommended that I read. And he's an African-American author. I just started reading it, but he said to read it would be a great kind of perspective, especially for a middle-aged white guy in the burbs, as far as, what being black in America is like. And started reading as I was out, or listening to it on Audible, as I was out walking the dog out through my nice suburban neighborhood here. And it really hit me because some of what he was talking about is describing to the dog's chewing on her bone over there, but describing to his 15-year-old son about how, hey, this is the way the world works, and it's not fair if you're African American. And really kind of hit me hard. I was like, damn. I'm like, I've had, and my buddy and I were talking about this. Is that there's been privilege that I've had that I'm not even aware of. I mean, not that I haven't gone through challenges in life, and everybody has, but there's just some shit that is, as a white male in America that I've benefited from, and maybe it's white guilt, whatever you want to call it, but it's been interesting discussions, especially under the 4 years under Trump with the somewhat. Where it became, let's call it what it is, where it became okay to be racist because of Trump. I know I've got conservative friends that would disagree with that, but you're just hearing a lot of whataboutism as far as defending or at least deflecting the insurrection of the Capitol, comparing it to Black Lives Matters, etc. Oh, there's my oven ready to go. But interesting book. I'm glad I started reading it. I'm usually reading quite a few books, usually sci-fi or history or about music, but this one is like, damn, pretty intense. Switching gears, something that was surprising. I just saw something pop up on Instagram. Rich Eisen had Pedro Martinez, the former Red Sox pitcher. Red Sox also it started with the Expos, finished with the Phillies. Yankee fans hate him because he tortured the Yankees for forever when he was with the Red Sox because he was so goddamn good. Turns out he was a Yankee fan and asked to be traded to the Yankees 3 times when he was with Montreal. I'm like, mind blown. I'll let you watch the clip here.
I'm a native New Yorker and a diehard Yankee fan. So
was I.
No, hold on a second. Wait a minute. What?
Let me tell you this, Rich. You don't know this.
Clearly.
I'm the only Yankee fan that ever paid all $250 that he made while playing for the Dodgers in A-ball for a Reggie Jackson sign ball. So you tell me if you would do that when all you had was $250 coming out of the Dominican,
Yes.
and you paid all $250 that you had for a Reggie Jackson sign ball. Would you do that?
No, I would not do that.
Then I was that big of a fan of Reggie Jackson.
If I was that big of a fan of Reggie Jackson, then I wouldn't have tried to beat the Yankees as much as I tried as a professional baseball
I asked
player.
the Expos to trade me 3 times to the Yankees.
Is that right?
Yeah, that was the first team I asked to be traded to.
And what happened?
Didn't fall.
That's insane. He goes on to talk about how he stopped being a fan once he saw people getting traded. Just basically saw the business out of it. He's like, look, you can't be a fan anymore. I became a player. But that's crazy. I actually saw him pitch a bunch of times, both with the Red Sox, and I saw him pitch with the Phillies. I think about it as his last year, Game 2 of the 2009 World Series against A.J. Burnett. He could still pitch really well. God, he was a freaking good pitcher. So tomorrow is the last full day of Trump's presidency. Thank God. The big question now is, what is he going to do as far as pardons? There's reports out there he's about ready to issue hundreds of pardons, and there's like all sorts of people soliciting him, donations and stuff like that. I even found one on eBay. But the big question as well is he going to try and pardon himself and his family? So we'll see. I don't think he's above it if he thought he could get away with it, but the question is can he even legally do that? Secondly, is that in order to issue himself a pardon, it would basically be admitting that he did something wrong, which, if he can't pardon himself, might end up providing ammunition for the prosecution that he's potentially looking at. So we'll see. Also saw in the news, I talked about last week that there was an Olympic swimmer that was in the insurrection. And yeah, sure as shit, he's facing 3 federal charges now. And got arrested out in Colorado. Jesus, freaking sad. And lastly, squirrels are still torturing Sammy. And the squirrels continue. Hey, lunchtime on Tuesday, January 19th. This guy's last day in office, thank God. So I've had that hanging up here for a while. What I'm going to end up doing is tomorrow, once Biden is inaugurated, end up hanging up that just generic Lincoln Project poster and taking that down. Also wearing my Trump comb-over watch today, which hopefully I won't wear again as well. Also, just thinking about when he was elected, I mean, I certainly was not happy. Like I've stated before, I left the Republican Party over it because I did not want to be associated with him. But I remember thinking at the time and having conversations with the guy. I'm like, well, how bad can it be? You know, I mean, yeah, he talks a lot of smack, but is he going to be as bad as he talks? The answer is yes, and worse. But also, I remember having a discussion saying, look, you've got checks and balances in place. You know, I'm like, it's going to strain the system of democracy we have set up, but I don't think it'll break it. It really is. It strained it to the point of almost breaking. I mean, another day, it's like the infrastructure that is set up could have snapped. I kind of envision it almost like like a ship in a storm, and it's like, is she gonna hold? And it stretched it. Rivets were popping all over the place, but made it through. But it's damaged, and hopefully we'll be able to get into some repairing the democracy that's been damaged over the past 4 years, as well as heal some of the divisions and address some of what causes those divisions. But as much as the GOP is talking about, oh, we need, don't do this because of unity, go fuck yourself, guys, on some of this stuff. Some of these things, the racism, the sexism, the white supremacy, the autocracy, that's stuff that there's not a lot of common ground over. Some of that stuff needs to be solved and not go down the Neville Chamberlain peace at all costs strategy. So, but made it through. And wow, this is surprising news. The Senate's back in session, and the McConnell just came out and pointed the finger at President Trump for helping provoke the riot, the insurrection at the Capitol, stated that, let me read it. The mob was fed lies. They were provoked by the president and other powerful people. So that's kind of a big concession from him. Wow, 400,000 dead from COVID in the U.S., 100,000 in the last 5 weeks. Wow. There he goes.
Lift off and go away. You got to imagine, for Muslim families who had a bullseye on their back, and women who were afraid to
Good riddance.
because relief for a lot of people.
So I'm working, but I'm watching the inauguration ceremony, and they just brought out Kamala Harris. What a big moment for the country.
American history, for world history, for the country.
What a good man. I'm a huge Biden fan, but he is a good man. The more I hear about him, the more I like him. So we're turning the page to a better time for the country. Here we
That I will
go.
faithfully execute
That I will faithfully execute
the office of President of the United States
the office of President of the United States
and will, to the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability,
preserve, protect, and defend
preserve, protect, and defend
the Constitution of the United States.
the Constitution of the United States.
So help you God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, Mr. President.
The Trump era is over. Okay, time to take this down. And the Trump era is over. Thursday, January 21st. Boy, I really enjoyed watching all the inauguration stuff last night. There was a tremendous 22-year-old poet, a young lady by the name Amanda Gorman, who gave this, recited this poem as part of the inauguration. It was just a punch in the gut. Just incredible. Had a speech impediment growing up, has overcome it, and just so well-spoken and talented. It was amazing. Foo Fighters played last night, which was awesome.
It's times like these, learn to love again. It's times like these, time and time again.
Yeah! What's hilarious too is Bernie Sanders at the inauguration sat, because of social restrictions, sat by himself, and he had these kind of just goofy knit mittens on, kind of a classic Bernie Sanders move. And all these memes are out there surrounding this thing. Him sitting with Minor Threat, him sitting at a merch table, him with the Foo Fighters. So everybody's taking off on this. It's fucking hilarious. In the news, Biden got right to work, even yesterday, signed a bunch of executive orders, kind of undoing some of the stuff Trump has done, and a lot of stuff around COVID, trying to take on more of a response for the federal government than Trump had done. So we'll see how it goes. So did my whiskey and vinyl thing last night. It was fun. A couple of people joined. It's funny. I every week I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to keep doing this, because not that many, nobody joins until then people join. One or two, it ends up being a fun time. So I'll continue to do it as long as people join. And then tonight I'm doing movie night with my buddies from home. So this is the part where I talk about music. So I talked before about how I learn about different music, either from friends or obviously listening to it on various indie radio stations, WEQX, a lot of WRCU when I was younger, Colgate Radio, KEXP, XPN, The Current out of Minneapolis, Triple J in Australia, 8 Radio in Ireland. Anyway, lots of different sources for music. But another one is if you find a band that you like, you kind of see who they play with and who they like. So a band I discovered from Adelaide in South Australia called Teenage Joans through Triple J did an Instagram post at a show in Australia, because they can have shows again, freaking lucky bastards, of a band called Oscar the Wild, another Adelaide band. It's a 4-piece all-female band, and check them out, and they're freaking good. They just released their latest single is a song called My Daisy. They formed in 2018, and they've gotten a handful of songs under their belts. It doesn't look like they've got any vinyl out, but give a listen to My Daisy, and there's somebody to keep a listen for.
Me crazy, believing her when I did. But your hostility's not gonna work.
So the drummer from Montreal-based Pottery, who I saw open for Fontaine's DC back in September of 2019, great band, bunch of good dudes. Paul Jacobs is his name, just released some solo material, has an album coming out or an EP. And take a look at his release and video, Half Rich Loner. It's pretty freaking good. And he's a good dude. I was just chatting with him a bit. He's so ready to be out of lockdown. But give it a listen and keep an eye out for the full EP.
the ceiling, staring at a photo, or taking notes at the meeting.
Keep an eye out for Pink Dogs on the Green Grass, which is the full release coming out soon. Just as an FYI, I've created Spotify playlists for both this week's music as well as all the quarantine vinyl that I've listened to. It's in the description below.
What did Craig get from Amazon?
All right, I think this is a vintage watch that I decided. God damn it, why are these things always such a pain in the ass to open? All right, man, this is small, but this is a 1938 Hamilton. Man, that's a good looking watch. That's a small case. This is actually something I could probably give to my daughter, pass on to her, because it's small enough that it will end up fitting her wrist as well. I mean, here it is next to my Seiko 5. But what a sharp looking watch. Got this bad boy off of eBay. Look at that. You can see the days of the month, it looks like. I think it's at the second hand there. That is just nifty. So I've got a couple that are more like late 70s, early 80s versions of Hamilton. So this is my first true vintage one. And then I've got a nice new one, a nice field watch. So this morning I was coming back from walking the dog and ran into my mailman, at least one of them, who's actually the son of one of my neighbors, or former neighbors. They've actually moved out of the neighborhood, and delivered this to me. Then, literally before I could even get in the house, a second mailman came up and delivered this to me. I was like, why do you have two mail trucks coming through at the same time delivering stuff? I mean, I've got a pile here, but not that much. So something from my boy TJ. Let's see what this is. Hopefully it's not full of packing peanuts. So this is crazy, but this took 5 weeks to get here. So it's freaking a challenge to get stuff open without, oh, looks like books. Oh, nice. I think this was mine. Yeah. Oh, and 45 sleeves, too. Good, I need those, because somebody bought a freaking single off of eBay, and the guy didn't put it in anything. He just shipped it in freaking, not even the cardboard it came in, just a piece of cardboard that he folded over. Even mentions the goddamn packing peanuts. Yeah, he's just intermittently fucking with me, so I never know he's going to lull me into a sense of security, complacency, and then jump on me with packing peanuts. Outstanding. Well, thank you, TJ. Man, great book. This guy is a freaking madman. I think they must have used a lot of the material for this for the Crock of Gold, or whatever the heck it was, the documentary that just came out. Because this was basically self-published, by him and his longtime partner, Victoria. All right, let's check out the vinyl. So this is from Australia. Yeah, I've been talking about how much good goddamn music's coming out of Australia. Australia and Ireland. I'd love to go to Australia sometime. I will have to figure that out and make that a point. It is goddamn expensive, though, and a long-ass flight. But someday. Nice. Perve endings. I think I can't remember if I I think I pre-ordered this. This is one that I think they may have had a crowdsourcing thing. So I am psyched to listen to it.
Thanks for asking, but it's all going fine. No, we don't need to get on your line up. Are you willing to rise up to the occasion? Remember, they'll all be waiting. Thanks for asking, but not tonight. It's convenient, but is it alright? Yeah, we like you too, but let me be clear, we're not here for you. Just another token, here to make you look good, here to make people think you think about it. Just another token, cashing in on this
Now this is interesting. This came in from Tower Records. This has got to be Beach Slang. But this is the weirdest packing I've seen for vinyl. They package it like it's a freaking ravioli or something. Very odd. There we go. Yep. Yeah, so like I said, it came out in the news that basically James Alex, the lead singer of this band, had been abusive to his longtime assistant Charlie, which is sad. But at the same time, I like the music, so it looks like they're going to be broken up, and I wanted to at least get this one album. So shame on me for being selfish and probably supporting a guy that's kind of a dick. But like I said, I at least wanted this one album. I got to figure that this is going to end up being hard to get. Oh, and it's blue vinyl too. I did not realize that this was colored vinyl. Quick story about Beach Slang. I've seen them a couple times, and when I saw them here locally, that same assistant Charlie was an absolute sweetheart because there was a book of like songs and poetry and stuff like that. And I asked, hey, do you think you guys could sign it? And she went around and made it a point to get every single member of the band to sign it. I was like, God bless her. I'm like, you didn't need to go do that. She left the merch table, and she was probably gone. Took her probably 5-10 minutes to track everybody down in the little venue we're in. Maybe it wasn't that long, but she really went above and beyond. So thank you, Charlie. These, I believe, are envelopes. Yes, so these will fit the Timothy Doyle, I forget what they're called, Unreal scenes, where it's like all the postcards and stuff that I have from like that are images of the Simpsons and stuff like that. So, because those are just postcards, but sometimes I want to send them within an envelope. Let's see what this is. Oh, watch band. So I got 2 watch bands for a Seiko watch that I got. It's kind of a cool watch, but it did not have, it's coming with a busted band. So I knew I'm going to have to replace the band, and it had a curved end. So hopefully one of the 2 will fit. All right, I think this might actually be the watch that I was just talking about. All right, so I'm going to pack it in here. Yep, and this is, this actually might be another watch that I've got. Yeah, this is a nice Seiko. I don't think this is the one that we said that. Yeah, this is the one. It's got a cool looking band. However, you said the watch band itself is not working, so it is a good looking watch. Do a deeper dive into this. Yeah, so it's missing the key link right there. It's actually connected in there. That's the problem. So hopefully what I'll be able to do is just put that right in there, and that'll work. Yeah, so that actually fits nicely. What the hell kind of packing is that? Oh, this is the Melbourne watch I got. I'm going to beat up this thing with the cover. That's okay. These things may be worse than freaking packing peanuts. Nice. Good looking watch. So this one is actually a quartz watch, not an automatic, but still a good looking watch. There we go. There it is with the links added, so it fits my wrist. Huh. So this is addressed to my buddy TJ, but my address. So makes me worry it's freaking full of packing peanuts either way. Or maybe you shipped it to the wrong place or something. We shall find out. Oh, that's awesome. Breaking the whole steady.
If she says we party, then I'm pretty sure we party. Really don't remember. Remember we departed from our bodies. We woke up in Ybor City.
That is phenomenal. Let's see what this other one is. So 2 of these. So I wonder, one of them I wonder if he meant to send this to himself or if it came here instead. That is awesome. Yeah, there's a whole story behind this, but I'm not going to tell it. All right, so this I've been waiting a while for. This is another vinyl from a local band that got done at the same studio where they do a direct to vinyl lathe cut like they do at Third Man Records. And this is a band that's a local band here called Candy Ambulance. So I've been looking for this for a while, so I am excited about this. Take 3. A similar kind one. Very nice. So the song Jim, except for this direct to vinyl, hasn't been released yet. So here's another song that I like by them.
Every time I find a spot to lie and I get so uncomfortable 'cause I'm in bed with everybody. I'm in bed with everybody. I know.
Friday, January 22nd, finishing up a pretty extraordinary week. So the end of the Trump era. On his way out, he did pardon Steve Bannon. No word if he did pardon himself or his kids. There could be such a thing as a secret pardon where he just kind of pardons it and sticks it in a drawer. But no word on that. Biden-Harris era began, had the inauguration on Wednesday. And then in the news today, General Austin, Lloyd Austin, got confirmed as the Secretary of Defense, the first black Secretary of Defense. I actually worked for him, basically served with him when he was in the 82nd Airborne Division. He was a full bird colonel commanding the regiment that I supported a battalion in as a battalion FSO. And when I broke my leg, I had surgery, and he and the sergeant major came to visit me in the hospital, and a bunch of other troopers that had gotten hurt on that jump. It was a bad jump. And I remember him coming in, he's like, Captain McAvoy. He's this like 6'5" black guy with a deep James Earl Jones type voice. He's like, Captain McAvoy, now you're a real paratrooper. You got some hardware in you. So it was kind of cool. So I'm glad he got confirmed. In sad news, you saw Hank Aaron passed away, the home run leader and legendary baseball player. So R.I.P. Hank. Hope everybody's well, and stay safe.